10 books that will change your life forever. Hi, and welcome to my channel. I have always been a book lover and a book reader. They have really changed my perspective towards finance, towards life, and allowed me to live a very meaningful life with a very good mental well-being. I'm not sure about you, but I have always prioritized, I'm someone who has prioritized my mental wellness over and above just making multiple dollars or just filling my bank with money. And the true story is my first book, and it will always remain my favorite, is Harry Potter. I was this schoolgirl, and I remember when the last part was released, I ordered one, and I remember I just snuck myself in my blanket for so many days till the book was finished. And I remember I had tears in my eyes. My love for books started with fiction with Harry Potter, but of course in this video largely we will be covering non-fiction with one of my fiction favorite reads as well. I hope you like this video and watch till the end, because I'm going to be sharing that one book that really transformed my mental health in my mid-20s. So stay tuned. So I have divided this video into two parts. The first book set category are finance books, and the second category is around productivity, mental wellness, career advancement. Let's start with the first book. It is definitely my favorite, The Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's one book that definitely has left a very strong impression upon me. I'm someone who is very disciplined in life, and I've boasted about the kind of productivity hacks I have. But after reading this book, even I was astonished. There was so much more to learn. There was so much more to implement. I recently told in one of my productivity videos how I go for a run every day, and as someone who doesn't enjoy cardio a lot, who enjoys yoga, etc. a lot, this book was actually very transformative in terms of helping me build psychological habits, those cues that really transformed my habits. And not just, I would say, physically, but spending time with my families, etc. Just the psychology behind it is just so much good. I would highly advise you, if you're someone who really loves to wants to be productive in life and wants to be successful. So that's book number one in the category of career advancement and productivity. The second one is definitely The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert B. Cialdini. I read this when I was 25. I was working in Groupon India back then with Ankur Warko, and I did not realize the power of that book until, I would say, last 2 years. It's a book which will really teach you the fundamentals of psychology in terms of pursuing others, right? Making someone say yes, in terms of getting a promotion, getting hired, asking your dates out. So I would highly advise you, if you believe that you kind of suck in terms of getting a yes from people, it's a brilliant read. All these 10 books are my top favorites. I have almost lost the count of the number of books that I've read in this lifetime. I think they're definitely more than 100, but please read them cover to cover. Pick one, whichever is your favorite in the list, and then you could go by each and every book that I'm advising. Which brings me towards the third book, which is the fiction that I was talking about. It's my really favorite, The Kite Runner by KHALED HOSSEINI. I still remember I had tears in my eyes when the book was narrating those painful moments. If any one of you has read that book, you would know what I'm talking about. It's a book about friendship. It's a book about compassion. It's a book about just human companionship. Even though it's a fiction, it left a very strong impression on me in terms of the kind of person I would want to be and the kind of friend I would want to be to others. If you have not read KHALED HOSSEINI's Kite Runner, it's a huge, it's a big advice and a recommendation from my end. It's a very small, thin book, but it will leave a really beautiful impression upon you. So that's the third advice. The fourth one is Linchpin by Seth Godin. That's actually the first non-fiction book that I ever read in my life. I have a really dear friend, Abhinav, who actually advised this book to me. And I was like, no, I like fiction. I'm this 22-year-old and I was in the world of Harry Potter and whatnot. And I said, I really don't think I'm into nonfiction. And he introduced me to the world of nonfiction with this book. And back then I was in Groupon India and I was really struggling to manage certain things in terms of my promotion or getting a salary raise, etc. And this book is an absolute classic by Seth Godin, and it really set the foundation of my professional career. Which brings me towards my fifth book, The Biography. It's one of my favorite contemporary biographies that I've read, Elon Musk by ASHLEE. Musk is this really great character. There are so many YouTube videos out there. He keeps on tweeting, but just to get inside the head of this man, I have always enjoyed how does he think whatsoever he thinks. As a co-founder, as an entrepreneur, I've always loved to get inside the minds of these people, and this book is a brilliant sneak peek into the mind of Elon Musk. Which brings me towards the finance section. So remember I said that I've divided this entire video into two parts. Number one, the entire productivity and career advancement. Number two, the finance. I'm leaving one book towards the end to share which is the one which actually enhanced my mental well-being. Talking about finance, the first one definitely has to be Tap Dancing to Work by Loomis. That book is about Warren Buffett. If there is one book that has come closest to the mind of Warren Buffett, it has to be Tap Dancing to Work. I read it in somewhere around 2018, and that book is a compilation of all the shareholder letters that Warren Buffett has written so far, and all his fortune letters. So if you're interested to learn about bonds, when should you invest in equities, and when should you invest in gold, if you want to invest in gold, then you should definitely learn from the man himself, from the book which is the closest to his mind. Which brings me towards the next book in the finance section, which is around Rich Dad and Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I was, I think 24 when I read that book, and I always thought that I'm a minimalist. But only when I landed upon that book and I remembered that it just really struck me hard. I realized how do I want to handle my expenses early in my mid-20s, and I was always very happy to make sure that my revenue is always getting extrapolated or getting exponentially increased, but my expenses are minimalized. So if you believe that you really want to learn from the man himself in terms of personal finance, then Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's a great read. It's a small book, but it left a very strong impression on me when I was really young. Which brings me towards my next favorite in the finance section, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It's a recent read. I read this in 2021, so I would say I was 29 when I read this. And if you believe that you know a lot about money, stock markets, equities, bonds, you are this mutual fund managers, trust me, you will learn so much after reading this book. You will realize about your own greeds. You will realize how you really think about money without really thinking about money. It will eventually teach you certain really good fundamentals about compounding, about savings, about really how should you really manage your money. If you're into personal finance, if you want to become wealthy, if not rich in life, there's a difference, and I've shared that in one of my videos. You should definitely read this book called The Psychology of Money, which brings me towards the last section of last read in the finance section, which is Poor Economics by ABHIJIT, BANERJEE and ESTHER DUFLO. I'm someone who's not just motivated to read books on personal finance because I've worked in public policy before, both at an international foreign affairs level and at a national level. I've always been interested to get the answers to tough questions such as why does income inequality exist? How does trade really impact it? How can we provide affordable housing and food to everyone? So if you're into macroeconomics, if these questions really trouble you at a personal level as well, I would highly advise you Poor Economics and Hard Economics for Hard Times. So that's my final recommendation for the finance section, which brings me towards the last part of this entire book series recommendation. I was 21 when I was diagnosed with migraine. And it's because I created this facade around me that I am going to be this perfectionist person who will do everything perfectly, get great A's, and get promoted on time all the time. I graduated from St. Stephen's College, which is the #1 liberal arts college in India, and I think that kind of created an Ivy League syndrome in me. And because my my body couldn't really handle that perfectionist self really well. I got stressed up and I was diagnosed with migraine early in my life. I have always maintained this, that getting migraine early in my life is the best thing that has happened to me, with the benefit of the hindsight, because I have actively solved for my mental wellness over and above just advancing my career and becoming wealthy in life. Which brings me towards the last book advice, which is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. That book I landed when I was 23 in my KITE, and it just taught me such beautiful concepts around being courageous and being compassionate. Today, if I don't like something, I am verbal enough to let the people know that it's not something that's acceptable to me, of course, in a humble and a respectful manner. Similarly, I have higher empathy and compassion for people. And last but not the least, I really understand the value of connecting with people, because human beings eventually yearn for connections. I hope this 10-point book series recommendation was helpful to advance your career, make you wealthy, and at the same time enhance your mental wealth as well. Mental wealth or mental health as well. I will see you soon. If you like this video, click on the subscribe button, because I am planning to be putting so much more content out there. Take care and stay safe. Bye. Subscribe right now so that you get notified every time, every day, whenever I'm putting up my videos on career advancement, personal finance, and lots of productivity hacks.